We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast, episode number 99. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast, making the world a better place one film at a time. And now, here are your hosts, three aspiring sellouts, Chad, Michelle, and Garrett. Welcome to the We Make Movies podcast. Podcast is all about how to get your movie made, how to get it seen by other people, and how to get it awesome. I'm your host, Garrett Robinson. With me, as always, faithful co-host Chad Kukahiko and Michelle Lucadoo. Yay, we're all together again.
This was Garrett. This was Garrett during the setup.
I was clicking stuff. I forgot to share on Facebook and do a whole bunch of other.
I shared on Facebook.
I know, but see, I was trying to sort through my technical issues, so then the intro was playing, and I was like, I have 10 seconds to do all the things. Click on the thing. Click on the thing.
Whatever. I'm going to drink my mimosa while you guys are clicking your things.
I had some whiskey downstairs, and I was about to go and grab it, and then I was like, no, we're already late. I can't.
Our company holiday party was this Friday, so I'm still kind of recovering. It was
all right.
Intense.
There's too many holiday parties, y'all. I feel like everybody's got to have a holiday party, and then you literally have a holiday party every single week, and then you're like, fuck partying. I just want to sleep.
You have them every day for about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What you said. Yeah. In other news, I may be doing the podcast in my bathrobe. Me and this guy.
BB-8. How is he?
He's good.
That's nothing.
He's not as exciting as I thought he was going to be, but he's much smaller than I thought he was going to be. He's like this small.
I was just going to say, guys, if you are excited by Michelle doing the show in her bathrobe, wait till you see what she does next week for big episode 100.
Episode 100. She's teased it. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll see.
I don't think it's going to happen. But
I think I've just teased you guys, not it.
Be here live and find out for sure. I have been sorting through massive technical things all week. I wasn't able to do the show last week because my computer died, and so everything is reinstalled and all my settings are screwed up. So a lot of times when you guys are talking, you're just going to see me sitting here looking back and forth in a sort of panic, like, where is that thing that's usually always right where I need it? Oh, and then I realized that we didn't redo the segments, but that's fine. We're just gonna fuck it. We'll do it live.
I mean, we usually just talk about shit anyway. Want me to start?
Yeah, well I just want to mention first real quick that if you are watching this live, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter with the hashtag WeMakeMovies, and we will answer your questions live. YouTube comments still not available because Google can sometimes just be the worst. So there you go. Sorry.
But tweet us.
Tweet us.
Tweet us.
Hashtag WeMakeMovies.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, go ahead, Michelle.
You know what's interesting? I was going to talk about big time Hollywood and Oscar predictions and like SAG nominees and all this kind of fun stuff, and then I was like, nah, that's not as exciting as what I did last week. So we're going to talk about that. I directed my first music video. That was a hip-hop battle. So, like, if you don't know, like, there's this thing, like, where hip-hop dancers, like, get together and then they battle it out, like, one of them dances and the other one dances, and they kind of, like, decide who wins. And there were 4 teams. I took an entire parking garage and did a little homage to the Step Up movies and, pulled cars around, shined light through 200 feet of chain link fence, which I hung from the ceiling with zip tie. I say I. My team hung from the ceiling. I helped.
Your minions.
Hung from the ceiling with zip ties, and like it was just like it was so cool. We shot it with 6 cameras, and then we like hit a bunch of GoPros on the ceiling, like in chandeliers and stuff. It was just the most exciting experience, but the scariest, because the thing with hip hop battles is it's all improvised. And we had a DJ too, like this amazing, like really kind of well-known DJ. His name's Zev York, and he was DJing on top of this like big Cadillac, and like so you can't recreate the music. and you can't recreate what happened, so you have to literally get everything in one take. It was the scariest, most exciting thing ever, and the footage looks beautiful. I don't know.
Awesome.
We're having some sync issues, but hopefully it'll be great. Things that I learned from an indie filmmaking standpoint from this shoot is Home Depot will take back anything. We hung 200 feet of chain link fence from the ceiling.
Hilarious.
Pulled it down, rolled that shit back up. We're like, we don't want it. Literally, our PD, like after when we went dumpster diving at LA Center Studios, which is also like super fun. Especially because Wicked City was just canceled, so they just like threw all their shit away. And
I feel the need to clarify that we are not necessarily endorsing this. We're not necessarily saying you should do it. We're just saying
diving, not endorsing, you know. Though I mean, like it was.
We've never
like,
on this show endorsed the free Costco rental.
Gently used.
Yeah. We've never endorsed the thing. Yeah, where Costco has a 30-day return, no questions asked return policy, and they have 5Ds. We've never talked on this show and endorsed the fact that you can just buy a 5D for a month and then return it 30 days later. This is not something that this show is condoning or recommending. We're just talking about our own experiences here, people. Is that good legally? Are we good now? Are we good?
So anyway, the long and the short of it is, it was super fun, and what I learned about shooting something live that has to be, you know, you literally, you don't know what the dancers are going to do at any point. They could like flip. This one guy like shattered the chandelier with his foot. It was a whole thing. And but I feel like the more cameras I added, the safer I felt. So, when in doubt.
I would feel the otherwise. I'd be like, the more cameras, the more evidence.
Well, there's that. Anyway, it was fun.
Cool.
My debut as a music.
Congratulations.
Director.
That's awesome.
Good job. That's amazing. Can't wait to see that footage, and definitely when it comes out in a future episode, we'll be sure to include it in the show notes. Even if we don't do a segment on it, we'll make sure that we put it in. So, I'll do my first news thingy thing. Well, actually, no. Just for the sake of order, Chad, why don't you start? I also am very interested in what you have to say about Tom Holland.
Okay. Yeah. No. Tom Holland says that the new Spider-Man reboot will be the biggest independent film ever, which basically means it's not going to be an independent movie at all. Duh. I mean, it's Marvel. Well, it's officially Sony, right? But Marvel is the production company that Sony's. Anyway, that's a whole other can of worms. So Holland, he's playing the new Spider-Man in Captain America: Civil War, and then the standalone Spider-Man movie that's going to be coming out in 2017. And he did an interview this week with the Daily Beast, in which he said that independent film comment, and it's getting like picked up everywhere. New Spider-Man movie, biggest independent movie ever. Hilarious. Anyway, I that's not clearly true at all, and it's kind of funny and obvious, but I understand what they're trying to do, even though it's clearly complete bullshit. But whatever. I mean, I get what, like I said, they're basically trying to say that it's going to be gritty and it's not going to be a big spectacle, but in no way, shape, or form is this an independent film. Anyway.
Yeah, that's like, they said that when Cloud Atlas came out, they were like, well, it's an independent movie because it was primarily funded by two big, huge Hollywood, producers or bankrollers or whatever, as opposed to actually being paid for by a studio. Yeah, and it's like, it's the Wachowskis. It had a $110 million budget. No, you don't know what you're deliberately saying something wrong to give it a different. Okay.
Well, I mean,
like, where's the line? What is? Well, where do we?
The definition of an independent film used to be stuff that's not funded by a studio.
Right.
Now, a lot of the films that are made each year are not funded by a specific studio anymore. So that term is pretty much useless. You know what I mean? What should be the definition of independent movie should be changed to reflect the truth of today. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I mean, by that token, you could say that Twilight was an independent film. You know what I'm saying? You could say a lot of films.
Like the Veronica Mars movie was crowdfunded, but it was still like the intellectual property rights were owned by I think Universal or whoever it was, and it like they contributed to the funding, and it's just sort of like it's not indie. It's not
I would say because of the chunk of money, how much money it got out just from regular people. I mean, and I know some of it did come from.
So you'd say that was independent?
I would. By my definition, I would say that Veronica Mars movie was just because so much of the money came from regular everyday people. You know what I mean?
It's a blur. So the lesson here is that it's a blurry line, but Spider-Man is not fucking independent.
Spider-Man is most definitely away from that. It's like nowhere close to that line. That line is here in Spider-Man's way. Yeah, no way.
Yeah.
Anyway, there were actually a couple of other cool things that were said in the interview, and it was actually, I suggest the interview. I will definitely include the link in the show notes. One of the things that he mentioned was how intensive sort of the audition process was. He was constantly working on other movies while the audition process was happening, so he had to actually tape himself. He sent in 5 different self-tapes, and then when he found out that he got it, he found out from the internet.
No.
He did. He somebody. He was on Instagram. He saw something on Marvel's Instagram that said, "Hey, so we've cast the new Spider-Man. And go to our website to check it out." And so he's like, "Oh, I haven't heard anything. Damn, I probably didn't get it." So
and it was him.
And it was him. And it was his name. He's like, "What?" And so he had to call up his agents. His agents had to call Marvel. So
we picked him. We
decided to put
25% pay bump because they've screwed up.
I know, right?
I mean, come on. If they announce it and then he's like, "Oops, sorry, I don't like that contract. I need an extra
Let's talk." Yeah, that was exactly my thought. Was the casting agent was like, "What are you guys doing to me? How am I?" Although they might have already been in talks. That might have been part of the process. Who knows? Anyway, I think that's hilarious. Like I said, I will include the link to the rest of the interview if you want to check it out. It's on the Daily Beast.
That's amazing. All right, guys and girls and everybody else who's watching and listening and who I'm talking to right now. All of the ages and the genders and the non-genders, the agenders,
and dual genders
and gender fluids. It is 4 days. It is 4 days until I will be seeing Star Wars in a theater. I will mention this, it is 1 day before our friend Charlie Capon will be seeing Star Wars. He's going to the premiere tomorrow night, and Charlie, that I love you very much, but fuck you, sir. Fuck you for seeing the movie a full 3 days before I get to see it. No, I'm very happy for him. He and Charlie and Andy, who run howtobeadad.com, have been doing lots of Star Wars stuff recently. They got to go to a press event that was very super cool, and they get to go to the premiere. And just watching them geek out on Tumblr and their Instagram and their Facebook has just been the most wonderful experience, because it's I know those guys and they're doing all this cool stuff. But I read an interesting article on Forbes this morning about the Star Wars release and the potential box office record breaking potential of it. And you wouldn't be crazy for thinking, as I do, that Star Wars stands poised to break every box office record that has ever existed ever. But this article, which was written by a guy named Scott Mendelson, was much more cautious about its chances to break, for example, a box office opening weekend record. And one of the biggest reasons is that the film is opening on, quote, only, unquote, 3,900 screens across America. And that sounds like a lot, and it is. It's more screens than, for example, The Phantom Menace released on, but it's not as many as a ton of other theaters, as a ton of other films that released just this year, not to mention the current world record holders. Although the current world record holder is this year, it was Jurassic World is the current biggest opening weekend release ever, I think. So Avengers and Jurassic World. Huh?
Sorry, that was my feeling of Jurassic World.
Yeah. Okay. But the biggest two, the previous two biggest box office record holders opening weekend were Avengers and then Jurassic World. And don't do the sound effect every time, okay? That'll throw me right the fuck off. But they both opened in far more theaters than the new Star Wars is going to be releasing in. About 500 more screens, actually. And those films did not have to contend with two other wide release films on this releasing on the same day, on the same weekend, which Star Wars does. Although it must be said that the two other films that it's competing with are Sisters, which is an R-rated comedy with Amy Poehler and Tina Fey. Is it Amy Poehler? It's Amy Poehler,
Yes.
isn't it? Yeah.
Amy, yes.
And the other one is an Alvin and the Chipmunks movie. I don't think the Chipmunks have the chops to stand up to Star Wars, but they are competition. They are there. They are taking up screens that Star Wars could be playing on, and they will do some box office dollars, probably a teeny tiny amount. But however little it is, it's going to be something. I don't know why these other films chose to release on this weekend. It seems like suicide. It seems like the stupidest thing you could possibly do. So while Star Wars could still break, all previous records, and let's face it, I won't be surprised if it does. It won't. If it does, it's actually kind of cool because it won't just be breaking the box office gross record opening weekend record, but the average box office per screen, and it will have broken the record of films releasing alongside other wide releases. So, go Star Wars! I believe in you. But
when's it gonna pass Titanic? Do you think?
Probably by Sunday.
Really?
You think so?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Although I have said,
I feel like I would say like 10 days.
I have said, and I will stand by this, I would not be surprised if it was the first film to do 500 million on its opening weekend. I also wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, because that's astronomical. But I'll talk more about that in my second general news segment.
Okay. Really quickly before we move on, there
Yeah.
are only so many seats, and there are only so many hours in the day in a theater. You know what I mean?
But all of them will be filled by me.
All the millions of versions of you.
Yeah. Okay. Just saying.
We'll see.
There's
We'll
a
see.
finite number there.
We'll see.
So Michelle, what about your Oscar? You have Oscar
I have Oscars.
situation.
Met some guy named Oscar. What's going on?
Still, what's going on?
Patrick. What's Patrick saying about it?
What about the Oscars? Give a shit. But anyway, there's just now the SAG Award nominations are announced. Everyone's throwing out their Oscar predictions.
Golden Globe put out their nominations this week too, yeah?
The Globe, yeah. But mostly it's looking like Spotlight as a favorite choice, which I have not seen, but it looks really good. It's a film about journalists investigating a priest who is accused of molesting more than 80.
Not just a priest, the entire Catholic Church, basically.
Yes, but
it looks amazing. It looks amazing.
It looks really good. But also
I believe somebody called it the feel-good movie of the summer.
but
Oh.
So that's looking like the front runner. Leonardo DiCaprio again and Michael Fassbender looking like front runners for Best Actor for.
Cannot wait to see The Revenant.
And The Revenant, and Steve Jobs. And have you guys seen the trailer for Room?
I have.
Oh,
Wait a minute, because
there are a lot of not The Room.
I've heard of a film called The Room.
This is just
I don't think.
Room. But listen, there are I would be.
Brie Larson.
It's going to be a crazy good year for Oscars because there's so many really good movies out right now. I haven't seen most of them, but I want to see a lot of them. I want to see Brooklyn, The Danish Girl, Spotlight, Room, Trumbo. I mean, there's a lot of these sort of historical films that look, and they're all getting, not all of them, but a lot of them are getting really good Rotten Tomatoes. So it's, this is going to be a really interesting Oscars. It's going to be tight.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Which is great. I mean, I think that's good.
Yeah.
But yeah, the room looks amazing.
Yeah.
It's Brie Larson. Do you guys know what it's about?
Yeah, just from what I
The
got from the preview, but yeah. But you go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah,
You
yeah.
go ahead
Well,
and
no,
tell the
it's just
people.
it's Brie Larson and this young boy actor Jacob Tremblay. He's 9 years old. I have not seen the whole thing. I've just seen the trailer, but from the trailer, he is just genius and so amazing and honest and unassuming and you know
Mm-hmm.
most like child actors, like there's a few of them, there's like the Drew Barrymores that you're like, wow, there's something there. Like this kid, there's something there. Like
Yeah.
most child actors are like, jazz hands and live your life and here's my dimples. This kid's just in it and he's there and he's like, he is just him. He's so good. So yeah, Brie Larson is a front runner. And Jennifer Lawrence for Joy. Everybody's
Joy,
yeah, Jennifer Lawrence
I'm
and
hearing
Joy.
the film is not
Hey.
good though. Like the Rotten
Yeah.
Tomatoes is really bad for Joy.
I don't know why. I feel like people are just like, well, fuck it. Jennifer Lawrence has been around for a while. We might as well.
Well, they're
We
saying
haven't
it's,
been able to diss J Law in ever. So let's just shit on anything that we can find.
I'm not hearing that the problem's here though. I'm hearing the problem is the director. I mean, it's got 58%.
Ooh.
Yeah,
They're saying that this is David O. Russell's worst film ever.
yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah.
Did
so
they
if
use periods? Was it worst film ever?
I don't know if a Valley Girl actually reviewed it, but maybe, possibly.
I'm gonna say, well, at least she's, acting the shit out of a bad film. Incidentally, have you guys seen that Kevin Spacey has a new acting class online?
Oh, really?
I
Is it
have,
a joke?
yeah.
Oh yeah, master class. Kevin Spacey. Yeah.
Is it a
it's
joke?
actually interesting. No.
It's a real class? Oh, wow.
It is a real class.
Damn. Probably expensive to get that
It's
class.
Kevin Spacey has created it's an online class. It
What?
teaches students. Yep, it teaches
Oh,
students his
interesting.
approach to the craft of acting. It's like it's through IndieWire. So like IndieWire is
Okay.
it's an IndieWire video exclusive. I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I mean, it's not just you and Kevin Spacey. It's like Kevin Spacey telling you how to act, and like that can be interpreted however the hell you want. And then like, I don't know. I mean, I think it's great
I just
for
think
Kevin
there's...
Spacey because
Yeah.
everybody's gonna. It's $90.
Okay.
So he's
And how many
winning.
videos?
I think it's 20 something. I think it's 29
Oh,
lessons.
wow. That's not bad.
But it's like a total of 5 hours of video.
Yeah.
So, and then it comes with like a workbook and interactive assignments. Basically, Kevin Spacey did what pretty much everyone else is doing in every other industry.
Yeah,
like
right.
put out there's no overhead other than your time. Like put this out there on and
Hey, back to the...
So
Back
you're
to
saying
the
that he
Oscars.
self-published his course?
in
Well,
fact,
You're saying that Kevin Spacey
I-
copied
well, I would say I don't know because it's IndieWire.
Wait,
so-
let's back up a little bit to the Oscar predictions because I just realized we did not discuss Beasts of No Nation. I mean, and you want to talk about child actors. You know what I mean?
Yes, that is
Like,
true.
I haven't, mind you, I haven't seen it, but the previews, just the previews, are so freaking powerful. I mean, Cary Fukunaga, man, that guy's one of the best. I can't wait to see the film. I really wanted to see it in the theaters, but it's, anyway.
It got really dark in my life.
It's really dark in your room, and I don't know why.
Should
Why
I
is your
light
room so
myself?
dark? You should turn some lights on. It's nighttime.
Carry on, people.
Hello,
all right.
darkness, Michelle's old friend.
So I'm gonna go ahead and move on if that's okay.
Yeah, I just want to say really quick that I don't know if you guys know or if it seemed to you guys like I was spacing out for a sec, but I went and watched the trailer for The Room. Room. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Right? It's amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Want to watch.
There's a lot. I mean,
you're
there's a
listening,
lot,
you haven't
man.
seen it yet. Room trailer. Oh my god, not The Room.
Not the room. Not the ring.
Two very, very
Not
different.
room.
What particularly sucks about like
Not
the
Panic
preview,
Room.
the preview of Joy actually looks really fantastic. It sucks.
Honestly, it didn't grab me, and I'm not necessarily drawn to that kind of movie anyway. But that one in particular, I was just sort of like, I don't know. I'll give it a shot because it's got a lot of amazing people in it, but I didn't know about it when I saw it.
loved Silver Linings Playbook, and it's the exact same team. Like it's
Right.
the exact. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
and I did
like-
too. But again, like when I saw the trailer for the Silver Linings Playbook, I was like, doesn't look like my kind of thing. Loved it. So
Yeah.
I was wanting to go see Joy. It just the trailer didn't. I don't know what it is about those trailers, but it just seems like I don't like it when trailers give the whole plot of the movie in the trailer, but I wanted like a little bit more to go on off of than that trailer gave. I don't know. It's weird. I'm weird when it comes to
Anyway,
what I want.
I saw Chi-Raq last weekend
Ooh.
at the ArcLight, and it was one of those screenings where the director is there and gives a little Q&A. There were some of the cast members were there too, Angela Bassett and Nick Cannon, my two really good friends, KJ and Randall took me, and it was fantastic. What's so
Sorry,
funny?
I thought you were like Angela Bassett, my really good friend.
Oh
You're
no
like,
no! Oh
what?
no! I meant I was. That's funny.
Totally what I thought you were saying.
Totally.
I was like, wait, what?
And I was
I
like,
really-
is he being facetious? But no.
No, sorry. There should have been a period. Period. My really good friends KJ and Randall took me, and it was pretty. It was interesting. It's a bizarre film. I can't say that I think you will enjoy it, and by you I mean anybody. It covers extremely important topics like Black Lives Matter, the lack of national gun restrictions, gun violence in Chicago and everywhere else. But I mean, obviously, it's kind of worse in Chicago now than it's been in a while. So that was the setting of it. But the problem, even though actually the actors do quite well, and by the way, they're doing it in verse. Like this is based on the 400 BC Greek play Lysistrata. And,
Wow.
yeah, so it was in verse, the way that was in verse. And so meaning that they were rhyming. You know, it was like poetry. Not all of it, but like good 2/3 of it at least. Some of it, you know, they broke into like just regular people talking. But the actors really did
Don't
quite
regular
well
people
with it.
talk in verse?
No.
I
they
do.
don't.
It's tough unless you
Mm.
first rehearse.
Oh, Lord.
I'm sorry. That was maybe. I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna say that was maybe the worst joke I've ever made. On this
I
entire
may have thrown up
show.
in my mouth a little bit.
Anyway.
Might have. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
Back to even though you know, Chi-Raq used a lot of the techniques that Lee's been using his entire career, but back when he was like, you know, Stand By Me and Do the Right Thing. Not Stand By Me. I meant Do the Right Thing. And I was anyway, back when he did Do the Right Thing. I don't know how the fuck Stand By Me came to my head. Anyway, when he was doing Do the Right Thing, he used a lot of these same techniques, but he was like a young filmmaker. So it was forgivable. It was like kind of fresh. It was kind of cute, you know, because he was so young and such a new. But he's been making films now for decades.
Yeah.
And you'd expect his finesse and his skill, even if he was using those same techniques, but using them in a way that's less like hammers coming down on your head. Like that's how his messages came across. And it's like it was unfortunate because the actors were like acting their nuts off, you know, even those without them. They were acting really. The acting went even with particularly with the verse, because it's extremely difficult to make that seem realistic.
Right.
And by the way, there is one scene with Dave Chappelle, which was kind of exciting to see Dave Chappelle back at it. And I really, really laughed, like belly laughed. That scene was very fun. But that was it. Like that was the only scene that was, and then a lot of some of it is so far fetched that and even within this world that they created, but he just went off and tackled so much different stuff that it just, I don't know, I just didn't. He's unapologetic, and he's been catching all kinds of hell, particularly from the black community. A lot of the people that are like from Chicago are like, dude, you're in New York, stick to New York. Which, okay, whatever. And there's a very important like white priest that's in it who's based on a real guy. And so this is the thing that is there he's catching the most hell for is that in Lysistrata, the women of the town in this Greek town are like sick of the men killing each other. They've got these two different main sort of forces that are, and so the woman, the wife of the, or main girlfriend, whatever, of the leader from one group goes to the woman of the girlfriend from the other group, and they say like, look, let's get these guys to stop. Let's not have sex anymore. And they basically put a sex strike. They get all the women in the area to like not have sex until the men put the weapons down. And so, you know, he's
weapons.
Huh? Ha ha. Yeah. Zing.
Oh God.
That's what it said. They says no peace, no peace. Peace, Piece. Yes. So anyway, which is what the premise of Lysistrata is. So I don't blame him for that. But I just think that, I don't know, he could have done better. He's been doing this for a long enough time. I think he could have done better. But
well, it's an interesting take. It's
yeah.
Now I kind of want to see it.
Well, I mean, the topics are so important,
right?
That it's like, and the fact that really nobody else is tackling them,
yeah,
is almost in itself enough to forgive it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
In itself, it's almost enough.
Scared these days. People are scared to tackle anything these days.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wish he would have done a better job. He's been around for so long. He clearly has to have some skills. I just don't know where he put them. You know, definitely not in the writing. You know, it's anyway, whatever. So
interesting.
We can move along.
Well, like. I will move along to something much less important. But you thought I was done talking about Star Wars. I find your lack of faith disturbing. Here's why. This is an interesting thing that I've been pondering and seeing happen a lot.
By the way, nobody agrees with you, Michelle.
I'm just kidding. I have you guys have my tickets. See? These are my tickets. They're ready.
I got mine too.
Here's why I think Star Wars is going to shatter records despite the obstacles that I talked about earlier. We, and by we, I mean me and geek culture in general, we want it to. We want to believe that it will be incredible, as if that will somehow expunge the terrible, terrible disappointment of the prequels. That was just so hard to bear and has been so hard for the last 15 years. And that is why, at least me and people that I know, we're like carefully cultivating our exposure to the advanced press for the movie. I stopped watching new trailers 3 weeks or like maybe a month ago. And I know that there have been more things releasing since then. Behind the scenes looks and that sort of thing, and I just stopped watching them. Like, my pump is primed. My body is ready. Everywhere online, you can read stories.
Take that. I'm not going to take that. It's just way too easy, people.
Do I really want to know what you mean by my pump is primed? Because that's frightening.
You know the old water pumps?
Yes.
You know the old water pumps? Okay, so like the pump is primed.
Say no more. Say no more.
Yeah. Exactly.
I get it. You dirty bird.
And everybody, like, you can find like everybody, like, well, not everybody, but like a lot of people are doing this. Like, my favorite YouTubers and podcasters, people who literally their job is watching these trailers and talking about them. They have told their audiences, like, I'm done. I'm not watching anymore. We're not doing any more until the movie comes out. We are at the point that we are supposed to be at for an ad campaign. So just in case we're not watching anymore. The trailers are just now for the fringe audience out there who aren't already Star Wars fanatics, who aren't already, getting their tickets. Just the ads and trailers are now for people just to remind them that it's coming, it's almost here, and just get ready and like remember what day it's coming out. And they have actually been handling the press and everything like really, really well. Like, we still don't know what the fuck is happening with Luke. Like,
right,
no idea. Luke. That's the big thing, and like the fact that hasn't leaked, it hasn't come out, and we're only 4 days away. Yeah, even if it leaks at this point, if it had leaked 2 weeks ago, I would have found out. I wouldn't have been.
JJ's team has always been pretty good about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, with Lost.
With Lost, they figured out how to, and that's good for them. Even though I wasn't a fan of Lost, it was pretty hilarious to me that people didn't understand how it was going to end.
Right.
I don't like Lost.
Oh,
No.
wait a minute. No, I think we've started
we
this
won't-
topic
we
and then
won't go
decided
in
we
there.
better not.
We won't
So-
go there.
No, yeah, we're not going to go there. Especially
By the
because I
way-
think Chad and I have very different ideas about what the ending was. But yeah.
I can't say in detail because I didn't watch it. I just was amused that so many people. Anyway, let's get back to Star Wars. Sorry.
Okay.
Oh, by the way, quick side note. Super quick side note, taking us back to Star Wars. Charlie Capon, I posted on Facebook that you told him, fuck you, Charlie, for seeing Star Wars before him. And he said, tell him to fuck himself for being cooler and a better writer than I am.
Oh, Charlie.
Oh, Charlie.
Let's get together and
that's
just
a sympathy
make out.
comment. Super.
Anyway, back to Star Wars.
There's so much freaking merchandise, you guys. I can't even. By the way, my boyfriend
God.
just ordered a Darth Vader waffle maker.
Yeah.
We now our shower curtain is
Uh-huh.
Dagobah.
Is what?
Dagobah.
I already own the Darth Vader waffle maker.
I was in the Home Depot today. There is Ewok toothpaste.
Yeah.
Like it's the
There are-
amount of merchandising that is
There are
happening.
packets.
like, it's just-
There are bundles of oranges that are branded with BB-8. Anyway, I just feel like the entire world is sitting on the edge of its seat, holding its breath, waiting for the music to start and the yellow letters to start scrolling up the screen. All it has to do is not suck. It just has to not be the prequels. And if that happens, it's going to break everything. It's going to break everything. I don't mean records. I mean it's
a little
going to
sad
break
that, like,
everything.
just beyond mediocrity is a big win. Like
It's
that's
massive.
all. And
Yeah. It is very sad, but it's also the way.
past
Yeah.
mediocrity is going to. That's hilarious to me.
I don't even know if past mediocrity. Mediocrity might do it.
No.
It's still within the realm of mediocrity. That's pretty hilarious.
At the upper realm of mediocrity,
upper
there you will
realm.
find eternal victory. All right, so let's get on to the main top for the lessons learned, which is what I've decided to call the new segments. And for this week, as I mentioned the last time we were on the show, I think when Michelle and I were on,
You did.
we said that we
I
were
watched
going
it
to.
after.
Yeah, so we're doing our main topics on things that we have learned in our own either filmmaking or things that we have done and like basically sort of a learning process and a week-to-week accounting of what we're doing in our filmmaking. And this week we're going to use the entire lessons learned segment for an experience that Chad had on the subject of virtual reality. So take it away, Chad.
Yeah, and so and that's where I've been gone. Like I was gone for 2 weeks in a row. I was shooting 2 films, and one of them was this virtual reality experience, which is weird. I mean, I don't know. Is it a film? Is it Anyway, I learned so much. I mean, we were working on it for months and months. First thing you need to know about virtual reality, and if by the way you have no idea what virtual reality is, it's a film that you basically you watch on a headset because you're in the film in essence. It's all around you. It's a 360 degree, except that seems like a two-dimensional concept. So you're in this spherical world, and the film is all around you. You can't, you know what I mean? Like no one's deciding what you look at. So anyway, that's what virtual reality is. It's been I've been hearing that the Oculus Rift, which is the big sort of technological advancement that has brought virtual reality back into the world. Mark Zuckerberg bought it for like $2 billion from the like 19-year-old kid who developed it. Anyway, I thought it was supposed to be coming out this month, but I haven't seen anything yet. So I guess it's still not on the market. But it's supposed to be coming. Yeah, it's supposed to be coming on the market any frickin' moment now. And once it's actually on the market, what you have now are just a few things. They're still a little bit niche, but you can get, like I have my Samsung thing. It's a headpiece that you can actually put your phone into, and so that's what I have here. And that's anyway. So that's how I can see it. And you need one of these to watch it. I mean, you can now go and watch VR movies on YouTube, and if you just move your phone, it'll go. But it's not the same as like having it on your head, because then you can you look around, and it's as if you're it's as if you're there. And the first thing you need to know about virtual reality is it's a completely new form of art. It's different than anything we've seen so far. It looks and feels as if you are right there in the room with the actors. And the second thing you need to know is that it is so different. Because it is so different from film, the tools that you need to do it aren't quite what you think they are. It's not necessarily the same types of skills. For instance, in film, you are directing the eye of the viewer in a way that VR will never be able to accomplish, because you are, you're providing a whole sphere for them to look at. And in a film, you're looking at a very specific thing. You're doing close-ups. You're pulling out. You're moving the camera in a very specific way that you just really can't do. I mean, we tested it a lot, and cutting within a scene looks like you're teleporting, and it's jarring, and it looks like a scene was cut, so it just didn't work. And in that sense, it's a lot more like theater than film, and that's kind of how we directed it. We basically put the camera, or rather cameras, because it was basically 6. We had 2 different setups. We had 6 GoPros strapped together onto this thing that then afterwards you put them together on a computer, and you patch it together. And we had a different setup that we swapped them in and out, and there were 7 of them.
Now, I have one quick question, if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
First of all, just to mention, I looked at the Oculus website. It says that the Rift is coming out in the first quarter of 2016, and they're trying really hard to sell the Samsung VR thing that you have talked about on the show before. But so my question is, now I've seen a bunch of YouTube videos now by this point. Like, I love these full 3D YouTube videos. I love watching them whenever I can find them. But there's always, how do you avoid having the cameraman there in the shot? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is you just put it on a stand.
Okay.
You can't have a cameraman, because he would basically, if you looked around, you'd be like, who the hell is that?
So you can't have a but that means you can't have a dolly. You can't have.
Well, this is the thing that I think I want to do. What you're seeing a lot of people have is if there's, like, for instance, there are some ski ones that I've seen and some snowboarding ones, and a guy will be like holding it on a pole, and then in post they'll delete the pole, so it just looks like it's kind of, the camera's just floating in front of this guy, So that's one way that they'll do it.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, and for actiony stuff, that's really cool, because it's because you're following them around. Most of the ones that I've seen, though, it is static, and people move around it, and things move around it. There was a guy who did one on YouTube, and he just kind of had it on a selfie stick, and he was talking, and he was walking to this thing. But the thing about there's a lot of different things with it. Let me back up and get back to what I was talking about, because there's so much to know. I don't want to just get all scattered. Anyway, that because you're not able to kind of cut within a scene, it's very much like you're in a scene and you have to be there. Now, by the way, this is one thing, just to kind of bridge this with with the question you just asked. I think, and I don't know if you've seen those things where it's like a pole, but there's wheels, and I've seen people put like an iPad on it and stuff, and it can move around. It's like a little robot.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
it was an episode of Modern Family.
Yeah, it was an episode of Modern Family that had one. So they exist, and they're obviously, available. But if there was one that could also raise up and kind of down like that, that would be perfect for VR. I mean, already the fact of you doing that, but later, maybe I'll tell you the idea that I have for my next VR piece, and that'll be a lot of fun. But anyway, so you can't cut within the scenes. You just can't. You have to bring the camera with you somehow, or something else you can do is you can, like, if you are a person and you generally, the way we just shot this one, the camera was ignored. We didn't do asides to the camera. We considered doing that because it's Shakespeare. You can kind of do that like they did in House of Cards. But we didn't exactly do that, and that was just sort of a choice. But if you are, like, if the camera is a person as if it's kind of like a video game or something. You could kind of black it out, or the lights could just go out, and so that's one way to do a cut. But if you just jump, and I saw New York Times had a piece. It was really interesting. It was basically they just talked to 3 different kids from parts of the world where things are not good, like somebody from in Syria, somebody in that place that Russia keeps trying to take over. I can't remember the name of it. The Ukraine, and then a kid in Sudan. And it was really, and so it was more like a documentary. And so that kind of chopped up because you're seeing different things. But when you're anyway, so that's important to keep in. So if you have a longer scene like we had, and it was just one scene, you have to shoot it from beginning to end. And you get one thing wrong, you got to start over. So,
so I'm watching one of those snowboarding videos where they've edited out the what do you call it, the stick, and it's crazy. It is like you're not, like you said, you're not able to direct the viewer's thing, but it is like they're just there. There's no sense of the camera being there.
Right. You just float. Yeah, it's really cool though.
But the idea of VR and gaming is that that you are a character, and you have kind of autonomy over what you're doing within whatever is happening around you.
Right.
So the problem, I think, with VR and kind of directing a full VR film is that the camera can't move, or the camera, if the camera moves, then it's not necessarily the person that is watching, that is directing the camera.
This is my idea for the next piece I want to do. I want to get one of those pretty realistic sex dolls, like a male one. Chop its head off and put the camera array in the head, so it looks like you're this body. I'm
going to cut that line out of context, just so you know.
That's and the whole film will be like, you've been in an accident, you're paralyzed, and people keep coming up to you. Maybe a doctor's checking your blood pressure and stuff like that, and then the zombie apocalypse happens, like something like that. That's the next piece I want to do. And so when it gets wheeled around, it'll get wheeled around in a wheelchair by your co-stars. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's the next thing that I want to do. So it's like a passive video game in essence. It's just one that you are.
I could see it. Here's an example of a genre that I think that can be close to this, that I think will help people make the leap in terms of seeing how they could use it, is found footage films.
That's exactly what this is. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And because I think with horror films, you okay there, Michelle? Something? Huh? Michelle went up.
I'm sorry.
Her camera's off. She's probably taking her shirt off.
Oh, okay.
She said she was going to do it.
So I think horror films, this is going to completely take over. Yeah. I don't think for most films, especially sort of the traditional indie, particularly noir films, anything like that, that is the film genre.
Right.
But for VR, horror is probably, because it is frightening. I've seen just a couple of these. We can still hear you, Michelle. I don't know if you can hear us, but
I'm going to mute her. I actually have the ability to mute her.
Okay, good. Excellent. Click. So I think it's going to, because it could be so frightening. I don't think you muted her. Anyway.
Pretty sure.
I'm still hearing. I don't know what's going on over there. Anyway, so technically speaking, so artistically, there's 2 main things you got to think about when you're thinking about VR. First of all, what are sort of the artistic issues, and how do you solve them, and what are the technical issues? Now, the technical issues, just to get that out of the way, it's really interesting, and we spent months figuring this out. I went over to the technical director's house, and we did a bunch of tests, and then saw what was going on, and that's where that was part of why we were saying that the cutting didn't exactly work.
Right.
sorry. I don't know. Okay. I don't know why you had it on Michelle for that whole time, but it's very bizarre.
I didn't have it on Michelle. What are you talking about?
Okay. So I don't know why the camera for me is just keeping switching over to her, but that's fine. Anyway,
Aw, it's because you love me so much.
it's sure.
Bye.
Anyway, so,
Pressing bravely onward.
but this is the like the resolution is so high because you're not talking about like 1080 by
Right.
1920. You're talking about this. You're talking the whole everywhere.
Like, what does that look like data management wise? Okay, from like that technical perspective, you must have the hard drives up the butt.
I've seen that. Well, first of all, the guy the technical director guy, he's the guy who invented the drives that LumaForge sells. So he's got a pretty good setup. Let's just say that.
Right.
And you need a really good setup. But even with a setup that good, the turnaround is still sometimes days. So you can't. So that's another thing that was
before you see it.
Yeah, you can't watch it live. Like what we had to do.
That makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, there is. So there is this thing. It's called a Theta, and you can get it's like $300, and it has two cameras, one on the front, one on the back, and then it stitches between the two. And that is, but the resolution of that is really, really low. If you want a higher resolution, you got to have a thing. You have to do what we did, which is at least at the current moment. There's eventually, I'm sure technology will invent a 360-degree camera or whatever. But at the current moment in time, you need either a 6 or a 7 GoPro setup. And this is the interesting thing about it. The point at which each of those two cameras comes together, if you're too close to it, this thing called parallax happens because the two lenses are in
Green Lantern.
It's like a mirror, yeah.
They're in two different physical spaces in space. So where they split, if the background is stitched together, if you have something that's too close, there'll be a line at which it looks like it's kind of doing a little mini teleport thing. And
it's like a mirror. It's like looking into two mirrors that are next
exactly.
to it. Yeah.
So there's a little like a little point at which like your body vanishes, and then so 2 weeks before the actual shoot, we did a full. We went to the space, brought the cameras, got the lights, and we walked through the whole thing so that we were several times so that we could see it. And because, again, you cannot monitor it, really. I mean, you can monitor potentially one camera at a time, but that's a whole other issue because the GoPros heat up really fast. They heat up, they run out of battery power really fast. So eventually, I'm sure the technology will advance in such a way that, I mean, you could probably plug them all in, but still they're going to heat up, So the technology is not quite there yet, but it's, but like what we did was we had the array. And when we were setting up, and this is kind of me sort of jumping back into the artistic side instead of the technical, but that's the thing is like they had to influence each other. What we ended up doing, and it was so vital that we did that test beforehand because we saw what we were dealing with. We saw that we had time in the space. This is what's really particularly cool from an artistic standpoint, is when you have a space, you have to fill the space. You know what I mean? So the production design becomes really important. Yeah. And so we had stuff everywhere. Even though the actors eventually, because we ended up keeping the action just here because the space wasn't big enough for them to not have the parallax. And on the test, there was one point in the text, it's a very important sort of little chunk of dialogue. The actor happened to, because at the test we decided to try to see what would happen if he walked around the camera. He ended up stopping at a spot where the line was like here, and like a big chunk of his face was just missing. And he's like, you're hearing him say these lines, but all you're seeing are his chin and his forehead kind of bobbing up and down. It was really weird. But
it's like that Donald Trump Angry Orange clip. Have you seen?
Yeah. But the final product is really quite cool. There's a lot of potential to it. And if you're interested in doing it, I highly suggest doing it. I highly suggest testing it. Get a technical director who knows what they're doing, like this guy. And we also have another guy on board. This guy. By the way, our technical director's name is Neil Smith. He's like the chief ideas officer or whatever at LumaForge, and he's the inventor of the thing that they're doing. So he's a really obviously smart guy. And then there was this other guy called Cafe Noir who's going to be doing the VFX on it, and the actors are actors producers are Aaron Fleming and Tony Williams. And so we had a really cool team. There was a bunch of people. I can't name them all because then the people I don't name will get pissed. So, but
that's really fascinating. So it
Yeah.
seems like the big takeaway is that it is a it's not a one size fits all. Like everybody shouldn't just start immediately making films in 3D. It's going to work better for certain things than it is for other things. Like I said, the first time that we brought up. And it's gonna, like, this is obviously, like, any advice is gonna change drastically as the technology further develops and as more stuff gets on. But as I was mentioning when we first brought up like, you know, full 3D cameras and VR and everything like this, if you're a YouTuber, it seems like I would highly recommend like going and getting one right now, because if you ever do like videos out and about, a VR experience is going to be that much more awesome for your viewers. I can't wait to see what you have done, Chad, and like what people are gonna experiment with in horror, because I think you're right. That genre is just gonna be so.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's already stuff that's out there that is so frightening I can't watch it. Like I'm like, it's just this dark room, and I'm like, I don't know where it's gonna come from. I don't want. So.
And I think that I would not be surprised at all if we start seeing independent filmmakers do the thing of trying to make a one-take, one-room, like feature-length film, which is like a little bit gimmicky, but there have been some amazing examples of one-take.
Apparently, there's one that's out right now.
Really?
Yeah, apparently there's one. I can't remember where it's from, if it's from France or something, or Germany, but someone was just telling me about it, and they saw it, and they said it was really actually one take, that they had somehow figured it out, and they had done that. I don't think, the thing with VR, though, is I don't think, especially with the headsets as they currently are, I don't think we can take it. Like, I just get motion sick. You know, and most people do get motion sick, because even this is the thing, even though you're moving your head and the view looks like it's moving with you, it's not. It's moving it's just a fraction of a second after you move your head, because it has to sense that you've moved your head before it can tell the screen to move. You know what I mean? So that's part of it. Like the stuff that I want to do moving forward, I want to try to limit to like 8 to 12 minutes, just because that seems to be pretty much at the limit of what people can take of this. But the most important thing, I think, is the technology will advance, and so the technical aspects will change. But what you absolutely, if this is something that you're interested in getting involved in, you absolutely have to figure out, you absolutely have to figure out that it's a different world, that it's completely different, you know what I mean? And that's something that you know, what that world is, what the advantages are, those are the things you have to think about. The fact that you don't know what's behind you, you know what I mean? And that something could be going on, you know what I mean? Like that, as a filmmaker, is something that you have to, like, you know, you're not going to have a regular DP. Every single light that we had to be not visible from the camera. It had to be
bouncing off somewhere else into the scene.
Through a window, out of, you know what I mean? And that's what we did. We hired you know, we didn't have a DP really. We had a technical director, and we had a production designer, and we had we brought in Cornell to come in and you know, and it looked great. I mean, the lights came from all these different areas, but they were not, any of the instruments were visible from the camera. You know, and that's extremely difficult to do when the camera can see everything, you know.
Right. Well, you have to hide it. I mean, I have a question, because we were having this discussion at work, because obviously I work at a film school, and any of the students want to do is VR. And we were kind of discussing shooting our my next musical in VR, but it didn't work out. But just to kind of close up, like, in you guys' opinion, and Nick Gilbert, who heads up our film department of Brooklyn Nine-Nine fame, is pretty genius.
Nice.
But his question was, do you think VR is the next 3D, or is VR the next color? Is it going to be?
I think it's more 3D because, and actually I think it's a little bit more than 3D. I think it's somewhere
More
right
than
in
3D,
between.
less than color.
Yes, because it's a change, but it's not a change that people are going to go to and then never come back. It's a change, but it's a new art form. But it's an art form that it's going to be huge in video games.
Right.
Absolutely. Undoubtedly it's going to be massive with video games.
It already is.
It already is with video, and that's going to be easy. For film, it'll end up being a little bit more artistic.
I wonder if there's going to be applications in other things like high frame rate, for example. I still haven't seen a high frame rate film that I enjoyed in
Even The
high frame
Hobbit?
rate. Even The Hobbit didn't enjoy high frame rate. After the first one, I saw the second two at normal frame rate. But high frame rate sports, obviously, hugely popular. Everybody wants to watch their sports in high frame rate because it's like you're being on the field. So I wonder if it's going to, are they going to start dangling full, like VR cameras down on the field? Because they already have. They will
in sports.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a thing where I could see where it's like I'm literally on the field.
Yeah, right.
Watching the players, right?
Yeah.
That could be cool. So
this is the difference between to equate this to film is I think it's more. It's going to take market share from TV, not so much film, because the thing is it's not a group project. You know what I mean? You're not, I don't think, ever going to be able to go to a VR movie theater. I mean, what's it going to look like? A bunch of stationary swivel chairs, and
it's going to be like one of those silent clubs. Have you ever seen those? Where everybody's got the headphones on and they're playing through the headphones on Bluetooth, but there's no sound and everybody's just
so ridiculous.
I mean, or people thought 3D glasses were silly when they first came out. So maybe there is.
It's different though because they're all looking at one screen. You're not. Yeah. You're all looking, and when you see what I'm talking about, it's not the kind of experience because the whole setup is that it's just you. Right. You know what I mean?
I feel like for VR, you almost have to be standing up to experience it. Almost. Not quite.
It's not safe. You have to be sitting in a swivel chair. You honestly do. It's just because you'll fall over. Yeah, you will fall over. So you haven't seen.
You can't see what's around you. Yeah.
I mean, I watch. Like I said, I watch lots of 360 YouTube videos, and I stand up, and I'm like,
on your.
I know. No, I've never. Yeah, but I've never done a headset before.
I have a headset. Next time I see you, just let me know. I'm usually carrying it with me.
Cool.
And I'll show you some.
You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a prediction.
Oh boy.
About VR.
Here we go.
In the next 2 to 3 years, I feel like VR is going to be everything in reality TV.
Oh God, really?
Imagine if you are in
God, you're right.
House, or you're on the island.
No. I actually disagree, and I'll tell you why. I disagree, and I'll tell you why.
You just said I'm right, and then you said I disagree.
Yeah, no, but I took the thought through because reality TV depends on intense, really stringent editing to create a narrative out of events that on their own aren't that exciting. Like what's going on the island in The Bachelor is boring as shit, and it's not even what you see on the show. They edit it and cut interviews out of context and do all this sort of stuff. If you were actually on the island for Survivor or whatever the fuck, you'd be bored out of your fucking skull.
But come on, what if it was now I understand this is a lot of data, but what if it's streaming VR? What if you wake up at 4 in the morning and you're like, I don't know, what are they doing in the Big Brother house right now? And you like, whatever, like wake up and like you're like, oh,
I
and
think the answer is going to be, oh, they're doing fuck all. Like, they're not doing anything. Now, here's where it could be cool. Here's where it could be really awesome, is on, I guess what you, like, is still technically reality, but competition shows, American Idol. Watch the American Idol concerts in the room. Be in the room for the auditions. That could be cool,
Yeah,
and then,
that'd be cool.
then they're going to have to step their game up because
they're already. I mean, on Periscope, there's stuff like that happening all the time. You know,
and, but you're going to run into a similar issue, and they're going to have to step their game up because while an audition is happening, that's fine, but during that time, while the person's leaving and the next person's coming in, that's 2 minutes of dead time. You can't have 2 minutes of dead time, so they're going to have to invent other.
Unless it's just a stream. Unless it's
sure,
just a
you
sort of.
can. People will.
On a TV show, though. On a TV show
no.
is what I'm saying. Like, you can't have that on a TV show. People will flip the channel.
I honestly, and maybe I'm out of my mind, but I honestly think that reality TV is gonna go the way of the dinosaurs.
I fucking hope so. Jesus.
I haven't watched a show.
More.
But there's so much really good scripted content, and
Sure,
there's so much.
but there are more reality shows now than ever.
Yeah, but are
their
people
entire
watching them?
apparently their entire like reality channels.
I think that
But just because somebody
with
makes
the
it doesn't mean
The Amazing Race.
I think that with the fall of cable and network TV, not the fall, but like the serious restructuring and reshaping, I think that what people want to get out of reality, they can get from so many other places.
Yeah.
Like they can get there's so many other venues, you know.
I've never seen. I mean, like there are those. And by reality, I'm not necessarily talking about like the competition shows. Like those, I don't see as pure reality, where it's just freaking the Kardashians, this ridiculousness, all that stuff. Like that, I don't see the draw. I've never seen the draw. I've never had any interest, and it's always such a shock when I see like bits above news, you know, about these people that I don't give two shits about. You know what I mean? And it's just. I don't know, maybe that desire to be a part of some celebrity's life, maybe that's what you're talking about, Michelle, and maybe it's
I think that stuff is going to migrate away, though, because I don't think TV is going to be able to sustain it. I think that kind of stuff is going to move to YouTube, because YouTube stars, they have the same brand deals, the same advertising, and now they can do crowdfunding. Like, I hate to fucking admit that this is true, but if the Kardashians had a YouTube channel and then opened up a Patreon to pay for the YouTube channel, they'd be getting so much money, and they would be they'd be advertising as well. They'd be doing shows about their new fucking, Armani,
about
Prada,
their new
whatever the fucking
retail line called Dash.
And they'd just be making fucking untold amounts of money. It's crazy.
But if somebody made like a vest, and it had like
Speaking
a little
of
camera,
untold amounts of money.
No, never. If somebody made a vest that like had a camera, like right here in front, and then a Kardashian just walked around for several hours, it'd be kind of a pain in the ass. But sure, I'm sure people would be really interested. I have no idea why, but they might be interested in watching that. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Boy. All right, well, that's a depressing enough note for me to say that we need to move towards the end of the show.
Yes.
We'll end, as always, with community news. As always, we please ask that you go, whether you're watching us live or listening on the audio feed afterwards, please go to iTunes and rate the show. Give us a rating and a review, if you don't mind. We love 5-star ratings, but we want you to be honest. Reviews and ratings help other people find the show. It helps iTunes know that we're here and know which people we should be connected up with. And that's actually how you rise in the podcast rankings on iTunes, is just by getting reviews and ratings. So please pop on in. This week's event is nothing! There is nothing happening this Wednesday. Womp, womp, womp. The first workshop is going to be the first Wednesday in January, and I believe it's going to be a writer's workshop, right?
Yeah, it might be improv night, but we will know that. If you don't know for sure, and you definitely want to know, just make sure you're on the newsletter. Once we figure out exactly what we're doing, it may be, I think what we're talking about is improv, then writer's workshop.
Gotcha.
By the way, saw the new space. It's really quite cool, and it's not. It's parking's going to be a bit of a bitch, but it's
Wasn't that going to be
WeHo.
things to know? I thought that was going to be things to know.
No, oh no,
Never mind.
no. Should it be?
Maybe. I don't know.
It's kind of
Probably.
community news.
None of us filled any of it out.
Well, community.
all right.
Anyway, the new space. It's in WeHo. It's on Melrose, just off of Curson. It's called Light Space Theater or Light Space Gallery. I don't know what it's called, but it's a second story thing, and it's just got a really nice kind of vibe to it. It's not a theater, so in terms of like it doesn't have the tiered seating, but I'll be building a couple platforms, and we'll do kind of what we did at the LA Belly Dance Academy Mid-Center Arts, whatever that place was, which was a great place. The acoustics just, I think, were kind of what killed it, and the fact that it's so far from so many people in the valley. So many people in the valley were complaining about going that far south west. So this will be more convenient.
In Sutherland as well.
This place, and this is the cool thing, the particularly cool thing about this place, because it's so sort of right in the middle of everything on Melrose. There's going to be plenty of places to go afterwards, so we'll be able to find out. Yeah, but again, parking's going to be a little bit.
Reasons you should Uber to We Make Movies.
Yeah, that's true.
Totally.
Yeah, many reasons. Anyway, we can. Sorry, as you were, Garrett.
No problem. So that's going to be the first Wednesday of 2016 is when that's happening. And just as a note, we are doing a show next week, but then we're going to take the week after that off for the holidays. It's going to be a couple days after Christmas and a couple days before the New Year. And I don't know about you guys, but I want to spend that time with my family. And then finally, We Make Movies is the only filmmaking community, so far as we know, that is entirely supported by our community, and that happens on Patreon.com. For those who don't know, Patreon is a crowdfunding website like Kickstarter or Indiegogo, except instead of one big fundraising push, you do a continuous voluntary subscription and to artists whose content you like, and it enables them to produce that content for much less or for than they would normally have to charge, or for free, which in our case is true. Our events are like anybody can come to our events for free. There's tons of stuff that you can do in the community for free, but if you go to patreon.com/WeMakeMovies and become a patron, then you get all kinds of even cooler, awesomer stuff. So go check it out, patreon.com/WeMakeMovies. And we end, finally, as always, with things to know. And I will change the order on the fly. Michelle, thing to know.
That's what happens when you change the order on the fly.
Well, and that also happens when I can't open my Google Docs.
All right.
You know what's interesting? As most of you know, I work for a film school, a college. It's called Relativity School. And we've been doing a lot of music videos lately, and I've been having so much fun. And we recently found a dance school in Paris. And after the shootings in Paris, and kind of are now pen pals with this dance school in Paris, and so we made a video. We put up a whole bunch of paper on the wall, and the students all like wrote their feelings and kind of encouraging words to the students in Paris, and then made this big mural on the wall. And then one of the students choreographed a dance, and we shot it and just put it up on our YouTube. So that's really fun. If you want to go to the Relativity School YouTube. Also, I am the spotlight of the week. So if you want to know a little bit more about me and watch me get all weird and geeky, you can also go to the Relativity School YouTube.
Isn't that what you do here?
Yeah, but like get more geeky. I get geeky about dance on film there. Here I just get geeky about film.
Fantastic. Chad?
So that VR piece that I was discussing, it's part of a larger Shakespeare in the Sphere project, but it's the very first Shakespeare in the Sphere project. Should be available soon, actually. So how you will be able to watch it, I'm not entirely certain, but I will be talking about it as soon as I have news on the show once I have it. Also, this 2016 is going to be a very, very interesting year for We Make Movies. We have a bunch of things that are in development on a bunch of different fronts, and it's just, if you're not a member yet but you've thought about it, I highly suggest getting involved now, because this is going to be a really fun, crazy year. And then finally, just one thing, there's an organization, it's mostly just this guy Eldad, I don't know his last name, but he goes around and rescues dogs, and I give to them, not much, but a little monthly thing that just automatically comes out of my thing. They're called Hope for Paws, and just go check out hopeforpaws.org. I know this is not film related, but I'm a big animal lover, so check out some of the things that this guy's done. There's one dog that he saved. It's a tiny little dog. Its leg had been cut off, and it was thrown 30 feet into a canal. And he goes down and he gets it, and he shows the recovery of it. And that's what he does, is he saves dogs, troubled dogs that people can't get. Some of the dog, our most recent rescue, he had, ironically, because I gave to him before he got involved on this, he had to be the one who got this dog, Penny, that we rescued. And she now has a forever home. So check them out, hopeforpaws.org. There you are.
Awesome. My thing to know, once again, not nearly as important as Chad's, but I put out a book while we were on break. So Shadeborn is the latest book in the Nightblade epic. It's actually right here. It's quite pretty.
The finale?
No, it's the latest. It's the latest. Book 4. And it's out. You can find it on Amazon. You can get it in paperback, hardcover, ebook, whatever you want. So if you know someone who likes fantasy, you probably shouldn't get him that book for a Christmas present. You should get him the first one in the series, which is Nightblade. All right, and with that, I will bring an end to this week's We Make Movies Film Geeks podcast. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. I'm Garrett Robinson. As always, you can find me at garrettbrobinson.com. Chad is online at superfrico.com, and Michelle is on Twitter at mlucadoo. We'll see you next week, everybody. Good night.